What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream where we're back in our Deck Knight project, a game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, C++ blueprints, the gameplay build system plugin, and all that good stuff. So today we're going to continue on with our weapon inventory component where we'll be able to construct weapons at runtime and be able to inject state trees and inject visual representations and then have it hook into our melee trace subsystem. So let's go ahead and continue where we left off. So right now we have the sword appearing and we have the state tree being activated, but now our collision shapes don't work. So it fails to get the actual weapon that we want to kind of have active. So there's a couple ways that we might want to handle this. Like, do we want to always assume, the primary weapon is the active weapon, or do we want to have, I don't know, some sort of internal tracking of whether or not it's the primary or secondary weapon that's active, and then based on that pull the right mesh data, you know what I mean? So try to think about it. The easiest solution is to have a helper function for this component that returns the weapon information. So let me go to, I think it's going to be window. It lets me window on my blueprint. So again, we'll move stuff to C++ later. Let's just kind of brute force the blueprint stuff for now. So yeah, weapon base, we have all this information about, the construction of the weapon. So whether or not it's a static mesh component or a skeletal mesh component. Then we also have this activate weapon, which, in turn could say, hey, get active weapon, right? So we could have a flag. Again, I don't know why my blueprint tab here, but we can have a flag here, say B is weapon active. Right. By default, it's false, but we could just say, hey, it's true. Then in our component here, and the assumption right now is that all the primary weapons will be swords, but if we ever want to have it become more flexible, you might want to be able to have the secondary weapon be something as well. But I think for now the design is primary weapons will be swords, secondary weapon will be your bow and arrow. So let's work with that design. So what can we do in the inventory here? We should be able to get the primary weapon, right? And then from that weapon, get the component, right? So let's go into our melee trace subsystem here. So I think it's under systems. Is it subsystem? Yeah, melee trace. And then here's the subsystem, right? And then we have the notify state, but I think that notify state, yeah, we get, so switch. So if we get the weapon, if the skeleton mesh component, so I gotta remind myself. So basically we try to attach something, right? Because this is with editor, right? And then there's actually a bunch of stuff here we can probably delete. But it's mostly in our subsystem. So let's see if we can find a weapon. All right. And so we find component by class, skeleton mesh. We do get mesh component. Call that where? Here? And then add a failsafe for socket names of none, so we do that, So trace object case. I need to remind myself how I implemented it. It's been a while. Put elf mail. So there is this old helper function for get weapon mesh component. Was that used anywhere? Character base and then elf mail. We'll let that load in the meanwhile. So as we have character mesh, create from data row. We call get mesh, right? Press melee shape. Socket name. I'm guessing all it's really doing is checking if the socket names exist on the attached skeletal mesh component. It just returns that, right? So we should hopefully be able to possibly do better. Like, we might need to move stuff into C++ early so that it's readable. Just, you know, alternatively, I mean, let's go into the character and do a temporary blueprint implementable event, I think is what we need. To basically override into our blueprint and just provide the mesh component for the weapon, right? So ufunction blueprint implementable event category gas core weapon, and I think we should be able to return, so it could be auto type this, like, I wonder. Say like new mesh component. It could be const, right? Why is it asking me to include enhanced input? I do not. Oh, is that valid? I wonder. Also, it seems like I have to update JetBrains Writer, but I will do that later. Let's see what the errors are, because I'm not sure why I just decided to all of a sudden go. Yellow on me in a couple places. Let's see what broke. Okay. Solid. So let's see what this looks like in practice. Let's go into the character blueprint next. Hopefully I should be able to pass along whichever one is valid. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Up. Health mail. Override. What did I call it? So active weapon mesh. It's like, yeah. Active weapon mesh component. There you go. Now I should hopefully be able to grab this mesh component, get primary weapon, and then we can just create a local variable. It's valid. Then we can get, so we'll always prefer skeletal mesh over static if it's available. It's valid. Let's make sure that is compatible. Not. Okay. Is this to a mesh component? No. Primary weapon. So matching skill output and mesh component object. I want to confirm it's a primary weapon static mesh. That is compatible. Okay. Wonder. Can that be converted to auto? No. So we're going to change this to we'll make 2 forms of this for now. And then we'll just do the check manually within here. So in the subsystem, basically overriding this. In theory, you should be able to say a gas course. The issue then becomes, how can this be, like, how can this possibly be flexible enough for it? Like, we could say, if it's the player character, do this, and if it's not, fall back to this stuff, so that we can always kind of put a weapon in the enemy's hands. I don't think we would have enemies that would switch weapons or have any sort of like inventory. So this could hopefully be enough. Don't want to do that. So this is const. Let's see. To include character. I don't like the fact that we're gonna have to include the player character into this. Maybe I would need to make some sort of helper function when I make this into a C++ component. Be like, hey, you know, get component from actor or something. Like, have some globals that I can pull that from. So let's, at least for now, let's go back into elf mail and let's just change this. So let's copy this. Let's override the other one. Oh, hold on. Am I stupid? That is also valid. Okay. I was getting the skeletal mesh, not the component. Silly me. So we're gonna have to go back into C++ and fix that. Mesh component. It's valid, of course. All else fails. The property associated with what? Oh, right. Let's that should be kosher. And now we gotta just delete that old one. That ensures about it's fine. Leave you out and then yeah, do it. So we should be able to literally just make this const. No. What's the difference between that and that? Oh, the pointer. Now we could say that. Say guess we could put like a UE log maybe. Something like that, and then I guess it could just fail safe into that. Let's see if that works. Let's see if this will compile. No. Initialization. Initialization page is skipped by case label. Doesn't move that here. Should work, I hope. All right. So now if our weapon mesh has these sockets that we're looking for, should be good. So we're going to have a compile error, I think, just because we've renamed that function again. So let's take a look. Let's grab all of that. Can I refresh it, maybe? No. Paste that and connect it and create these local variables. And we'll see if it gets called when I try to attack. So I'll see, our sword takes a second to load in. Bam, attack, and we're here. Turns the skeletal mesh. Seems valid. Let's see, are we getting collision shapes or not? But it's probably because of the skeletal mesh not having the sockets now. Let's take a look. Here's our prop. So yeah, we don't have the sockets, but I think the static mesh does. Yeah. So if, for example, let's just brute force. That should get the static mesh. So, crash. I guess this is good. Okay. Let's try that again, folks. Try this again. Is this in there? Oh, nope. Don't compare with clipboard. What are you talking about? Let's try again. That's mail. Let's just go straight to here, just to be sure. We're passing along the weapon. So I need to probably also safeguard this, right? So if do it here, but I didn't do it up here. That's a no-no where I'm from. Let's try that one more time. Here's what it's getting. That's invalid, I guess. Let's try again. So boom, 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 boom. So it's unknown. Okay, so it was returning null, and then we were still getting a crash. So honestly, that was a good safeguard to have, nonetheless. So let's see why now this is not going good. So I guess the issue is we're not resolving it if it's already correct, right? So we could have custom events here. So custom event, and what do we want to do? Initiate base weapon skeletal mesh component. Same thing, but static mesh component. Okay, ensure time. Say static mesh. And let's grab this. Let's move things down. So static mesh, this is skeletal. And then yeah, same thing for static. Okay. Organizational time. But yeah, this one is skeletal, so we can like that. That's static. Like that. You can just go. Yeah. No biggie. So here's our instantiation set. And we can just call it. Alright. We could say instantiate. Instantiate again. Should. And I guess the issue is now I'll have two swords, I guess, right? So when we activate the weapon, we set the skeletal mesh. So I guess regardless, the visual would end up being like the static mesh. Well, so I guess in general, we would need to just add it, right? Add virtual bone. Just add socket, right? So restart. 25 height. Okay, that's relative. I want to reattach to the root, maybe. So 25, yeah. And then this one's at 200. Fine. Writable, save that, make writable. Like, I just wonder if I'm safeguarding too much, or at least trying to safeguard too much. In theory, now, if we put everything back as it was, should see the traces again. Yeah. Should be able to deal damage. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, again, like we have options for, hey, do you want it to be skeletal mesh or static mesh? Maybe this could be a struct that kind of hides those options, so you can have like a flag to say whether or not you want it to be skeletal mesh or not. But I digress. So at this point, we have this working. Just turn off collision shapes. But we don't have our bow working anymore, right? Because we're not injecting any sort of state tree into it. Or even doing anything with the weapon. So we should be able to, hopefully, in theory, create a duplicate of sword. So we can just go to bow. Keep this. All right, let's also connect to our Perforce server. Let's get our writable. Fine. The sword is duplicate. Weapon underscore bow. And what we can do is change this to ranged. Not sure why there's 2 parameters. State tree. Look real quick. Because yeah, weapon sword, similar. But weapon base. Yeah, there's a state tree reference. But what are we doing? What's going on? But I don't think we need the state tree override. Really just the state tree reference. This changes to ranged base. And we should be able to go into our component. We have primary weapon slot, and then we should be able to just do similar things here. Where we can duplicate this. Secondary weapon class soft. Editor phone. Similarly, it's a class reference, so on the soft reference, I should be able to just say, okay. So yeah, there's 2 different weapon bases, so that's already an issue. So we're gonna have to make sure we rename that class. But the weapon base, second one. Oh, this is better. Oh. So we could say, custom event, async load, primary weapon class. So safeguard this better is valid soft class reference. Bam. Call async load. Weapon class. So now we kind of have to kind of undo some of the work here with the bow. So we got the ranged bow. So we have the information here. We have a custom scale that we want for it. So let's go and copy some of this stuff here. So for the bow, we have the base weapon data. We have the equipped weapon data. So scale, we're going to copy that. Location. Location. We have a tree. So we have escape 01. So I think now is a better time to duplicate stuff, I guess. No. Let's do that. This one is mine. That's good. I'm gonna have to replace the skeleton, I think, that they're using. I'm gonna grab this. Put it here. Well, not be it. Does that even work if I do something like that? Rename that one. Easy to find. What else? Assign. Go. No. As asset. Could be a way to kind of reassign the skeleton. There's create asset, material, no. Mesh, no. Full window. You think that would be like maybe there's like an asset action. That's cool. Sorry, my key to use being extra cute in the basket. Well, I can create a asset for this thing, or so there's asset details. Is asset it's this one, but can I? Still on. Seems like it's identical, so. Place everything and delete that. There we go. Now let's put ASC. That. That should be, hopefully, okay. Now, if we go to our bow, weapon, let's take out static mesh, put in this one. That's our transform data. It should still be Gucci. But let's go back into our elf male. So we're doing this kind of helper function, right? Toggle bow mesh. So when we want to show it, this is where we go into the hand, right? So the socket name. We also got to fix the socket. Right? Range bow is going into some place called back accessories. When it is active, to weapon slot, and it has no additional information except the scale. Okay. Oh, this should be good, and I'm hoping for now we'll take out the bow. We'll have to also update the quiver when the time comes, but for now, should see what's up. So now it's not there, right? Nothing's happening. So let's go into our player weapons component, right? Oh, whoops, no. So we async load this bish and then we activate the weapon, right? We need to make something similar, but custom event to say equip base weapon. Something like that. And then this should be like activate this weapon. And so more or less want to copy this, except, you know, the linked asset stuff. So let's just grab it and see what happens. So again, this assumes skeletal mesh, which is fine for now. more or less want to just change that. We don't necessarily want to change anything with state tree, honestly. And then is weapon active false. Now, in our weapon component, we just gotta tell the system to, like, equip it. Custom event, facing, well, secondary weapon class. Do that. Change our references. Change the variable names. Well, no, we already have these variables. Well, I'm weapon based again. What's going on? Or am I casting to the wrong weapon base? This is, again, the wrong one. Oops. So I'm going to do myself a favor right now. Shit. That's too bad. So change these casts. So cast to ace. Okay, so that refreshed. Refreshed. Object, yes. Two. So the tricky part is at this point, like when the bow is on the back, it's technically active, right? We want to be able to pull out, like, equip, shoot on it, right? So I don't know if, like, naming it equip is very fair. Maybe here, do like equip its weapon, but we don't actually add the link state tree. So, and technically, like, all the weapons are active, right? So that variable doesn't mean shit. More about, is it in the hand, you know? But maybe this needs to be its own function call, where we say custom event, link state free. You. And then activate. So what was it? Link state free, right? Change this to secondary weapon here. Here. But this should be enough to show the bow. Which does, but it's in our hand, right? By default, that's wrong. So what's wrong? So we do active base weapon, right? So we should just do equip base weapon. Should go where it belongs. Yeah. In theory now, we got the state tree back. But now our melee doesn't work. Why? Good question. We gotta change, I think, the tag. We even provide that tag. So let's link it. Yeah, so that's our problem. So let's make a variable here. So wait, so linked. Wait, oh, the cat's moving around. Hold on. Something like that. And yeah, default. This is where I would want to probably scope it to the appropriate subclass of tags, which reminds me, I should probably remove these other ones. Can I clean up ones? Manage the state tree gameplay override. Where do we have melee? Can I delete that one? Yes. So now, bow. Let's change this to secondary. Now I should be able to do melee and bow. Yes. Okay, cool. So things are all kind of funky where the thing is being spawned, but we get runtime errors. But, you know, things are moving in the appropriate direction, I think. So, what's next? Now, in our component, we would be able to have helper functions or events that just say, you know, custom event for right now. We could say, activate secondary weapon hand. We can just basically say, hey, if this is valid, say activate. And of course, if this passes, that's when we tell the primary weapon as well to equip. And maybe equip is not the best name for it. So like, so this one should be maybe activate weapon to hand. Equip weapon to, I don't want to say back or anything, but because I'm saying, you know, two hands, so I could say deactivate weapon from hand. Something like that. Maybe that's clearer. So now in our abilities, so player, ability system, abilities, test, range, bow. Let's just do the basic one again. So we will need to, this doesn't compile for one, right? So we're gonna have to figure out how to best animate this stuff. So we could, in theory, get player weapons component, get secondary weapon, get base weapon skeleton. Like there's this, you know, nice little chain of things where I should be able to just make a helper function here or helper event or something. Where it's like get secondary weapon skeletal mesh. Pure const, all that jazz, and work to validated get. It's going to be what? Mesh component. Less like that. Again, I do the wrong thing. So component, please. Thank you. So now back here, I should be able to just call it get secondary skeletal mesh component. Boom. It's, you know, it's a little more verbose. And then, you know, technically, I guess because it's an SK, I can change the output type to be skeletal mesh component, just so I don't have to do an additional casting when I'm invoking it. Skeletal mesh component. Boom. Oh. Object, please. That should be compatible. So that's, you know, one part of the equation. More problems, more money, more problems, right? So we're gonna keep for now the spawning of the arrow as it is, like the projectile. But yeah, so the next thing we gotta do, because there's this whole thing on, like, essentially we need to activate, like, pretty much at the beginning, the weapon, right? So we will need to put this and say what? Like activate secondary weapon to hand. So yeah, let's take out this stuff. So we can compile it. So let's look at this in a little slow motion. So I activate, it goes into hand, and yeah. What's truly happening here, right? So activate this hand, it does both, which is good, right? So can get rid of this. Just call that. Bring you back here. Probably want to safeguard this. So now we need to do something similar again, where we can get this, get secondary weapons, skeletal mesh component. Pass that along. This, grab this. So now it should at least spawn in our hand correctly. Like the projectile. So the bow doesn't seem like it's connecting. Yeah, I deleted this stuff, but because we have version control, it's diff. So toggle bow mesh show. So we set everything the relative transform range weapon socket. So we're doing something incorrect. Incorrect. When we're doing this, let's look. Activate weapon to hand. So for the bow, active. So yeah, these actually this should just be 0. Not sure why those became values. That became the same, and then -7 3 0 5 rotation. Okay. This should be fixed now. There you go. You know, Ozzy, he's running. Bonus hand, like eventually we'd want to. Let me see what this looks like in slow motion though. Is he stabbing himself in the head? Yeah. Gotta see, the sword should be in his hand. But yeah, these are all problems we're fixing, right? No big. So now for our bow, right? We have the projectile weapon data. So what we can do is grab this static mesh. So I believe this also scales it by 1.5. So should be able to go into the weapon bow. That. Just have this equip transform. And let's look. 1.5 across. Oh. Probably would be bigger in the Z. We need to make a helper function here. Custom event. Yeah, this needs to also, when we activate it, be in the hand. So we're going to say, so activate weapon projectile and remove weapon projectile. And, so I'm hoping it's enough to do something very similar here. I should probably just kind of store this on begin play, right? What we want to all begin play. All this casting seems didn't. I just turned this into a validated get across the board. Okay. Or yet again here. When in doubt, update it out. Okay, so now this is where we're activating the projectile in the hand. So essentially, we need to do like this. This is a static mesh for now. Again, I'm gonna have to make, I don't know how I'm gonna make proper like wrappers for this shit, but you know, handle cases for if the static mesh is true or not. So for now, we're gonna stick with this, and it's in our projectile weapon data. Bam. Cast. There. Socket name. Good, 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 good. Primary. Also instantiating this. Like technically, I think we need to instantiate it and also activate it in the same quote unquote frame. Like, I don't necessarily... I guess we would do it, right? If it's valid at the beginning. So, custom event, instantiate projectile, weapon, on it. Go. I would essentially, let's start this over. So we would handle it here, right? What I would want to do is valids. Guess I'm not doing at the top here. And, well, yeah, I am. Okay. Doing that. Check if it's valid. Okay, great. Load. When it's done. Store it. Also doing owning actor here, which doesn't seem like it's necessary to store owning actor like that. It does have a character. Unnecessary. Done. So instantiating, and then we eventually get to like this part. Saying as static mesh, we can just say. I don't know if you want to call this weapon. Weapon. Stuff real quick. So then what we're doing is adding an instance static mesh component. Here. But then where are we? Getting the mesh, and then we add instance static mesh component. I guess when we activate it, right? So we set the skeletal mesh. But now we have activate projectile in hand. So more or less that's, let's grab that over. Let's change some of the stuff. So should set static mesh. Wait. Well, that's this. Projectile. Then again, primary weapon. Now let's say that static mesh. Let's be always branch. It's true. Swing that along. What is... here? But now this is this. Base weapon data? No, it is weapon data. Active weapon. And move it. I guess when we want to remove it, we want to just literally do that and then possibly just detach. Maybe that's enough. So we only have a couple minutes left in the stream. So let's just see if we can get this to work in the weapon, not the weapon bow, but the ranged attack, right? Because we're doing all this stuff. We're adding a static mesh component, but we shouldn't really need to. We should be able to now say basically activate weapon projectile in hand. When we shoot, similarly, let's say, oh, not delay. Oh my god. Deactivate. No. Projectile. Alright, remove. See, we should make helpers to make that easier. Well, let's see if we get a crash or not. Slow motion. Okay, so it doesn't really show up. Okay, not a big deal. I'm not gonna cry. So let's just debug it. So we're here. So hand arrow socket. Right. But we are instantiating it, right? So it's The projectile weapon data. We call construct, right? So let's see. Let's put a breakpoint. Yup. Okay, and then let's jump in so we get to here. Projectile weapon data. Static meshes, bow arrow 2. Good. Good. That. This seems fine. And we're attaching all of this to that, and the transform scale is fine. Seemingly is fine. Take out 12 points. So it should be there already, but it's not. Is it actually created in the world? There should be, if anything, something. Elf male. It's the player component, and then there's the bow. Projectile, weapon data, active. And arrow socket. I'm doing the wrong equip. It's active. I mean, or like I am setting the static mesh though. Let me just make it. Because yeah, weapon, projectile, static mesh, weapon, projectile, static mesh, weapon, static mesh. Oh, good. Projectile, weapon data. Let's just do a direct hard reference to this thing, and just see if it makes any difference to how, if we're seeing it or not. Still invisible. Okay. You look at the message log too, right? Access none. Instance, so yeah, we don't. Okay, so that's already kind of broken. Dang it. Do I have to give it an animation blueprint? I don't think I can assign anything by default. All right, that's a problem for another day. It's already almost 8:30. I want to find out why this doesn't work. Like, I just wonder if the attachment fails. Seems fine. Get it here. Now I think I know why. So weapon skeletal mesh component. Boom. Get out. Oh. Some of these breakpoints again. Put you back there. So, still wrong. But, you know, maybe a step in the right direction. Try again. Oh. Thought I was clever. Static mesh component. Putting projectile static mesh component. Projectile static mesh component. Attaching it. Snap to target. No. Oh. Let's look at the skeleton here. Because I'm pretty sure we have this socket, right? Yeah. But what did this look like? So we're setting the static mesh, we're adding the static mesh component, and we're snapping it all. Right? So one would think this would work. We manually just say it. Is it? Okay, hold on. Is it being... It's not being destroyed immediately, is it? Activate, we draw it, then we shoot, right? So if let's say we don't shoot, not shoot, but let's say we don't destroy it. Is it anywhere to be found? Can I do anything? Fix this. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Posting random stuff daily. I hope you live true to your name. So yeah, scale is what I'm changing. Location, everything's fine. Fancy weapon component, projectile data. Let's do it again. So the first time gonna fail, the second time bow, so should pass. I'm doing the same thing as the others, right? So I check, I load it, do that, and then I just save it off. Right now I'm working on a weapon inventory component so that I can, store and kind of call into my bow and the sword and kind of launch into these state trees that have the melee combo or have the bow attacks, for example. So right now I'm working on trying to figure out why the projectile data is not instantiating. When I say projectile, I just mean the arrow to go into the fingertips. Because I'm loading things in. I think they're right. I'll draw a sphere. I need to just debug potentially where this thing is going. Break, transform, patient. So which one is it? So transform position for bets. This should be correct. Duration 1 second, thickness 1, radius should be 50. And let's make this, I don't know, some bluish color. So it should be literally in the hand, which I suppose it's not. Make this smaller, maybe 5. I just want to see where it is exactly, because again it should be in the right hand. Yeah, so it's actually not. Unless something changed or got messed up. Arrow socket. I don't know what happened. Let's look again. So for whatever reason, it's I don't know if that's an issue. Do I have to inverse the transform maybe when I'm doing this draw? Well, I'm being stupid. Okay, so I need to get socket, location, mesh, or go to socket transform. Yeah, socket transform. World. probably is fine. Alright, so see, that's correct. But just not showing up. Like, I'm not making anything invisible. I'm just gonna disconnect that just in case. I'm just looking with my elf eyes. There's nothing there. Nothing about this scale seems funky. So attach component to component. So we're attaching the world projectile static mesh. Weapon projectile static mesh. Snap the target. Snap the target. Like, seems fine. So your boy, he's struggling. So yeah, the debug proves that it's in the right spot. All the other instances seem to work fine. Is it because it's a instanced static mesh? Let's just make it a static mesh component real quick. It's fine. It's because it's an instant static mesh, I'll be upset, but let's see. Yes. Yes, it is. So yeah, let's fix just gotta adjust this again. More or less like that. I think that relative scale works fine. So 2, 2, 1, right? 2, 2, 1. But yeah, I guess the fact that we said snap to target is an issue for the scale, right? So maybe keep world. Oh, because we're not, sorry, yeah, we forgot to set relative transform now. So that should be okay. So what's the difference between that and a instanced? So we're here. Did I did the wrong fucking... I did the wrong socket, hold on. So it's not better. No. So I don't think I did anything. Let me. R. So let's just revert the scale on that. Hopefully it saves, and then we can call it a day. Yeah. Cool. When I use the bow. There we go. I just need to move it. Potentially, I would maybe need to offset this location myself. What happened? Since we got a crash, maybe that's the time to stop. So that's all I'll end it for today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it very much. If you enjoyed the content, if you enjoy watching me stream, consider subscribing on YouTube. Make sure and try to consider to to follow me here on Twitch. It's all super duper appreciated. Feel free to join our Discord as well. Join the community, hang out, discuss game dev, all game related topics. So since it's our Thursday stream, have a good weekend coming up. Stay safe, have fun, and hopefully I will see you on Sunday or next week to continue this project. So have a good night. See you soon.